Hey, welcome to Full Frontal. I'm Samantha B. The end of summer is bittersweet. It means saying goodbye to sunny beach days, long summer nights, and steamy nooners with the half-man, half-sea creature who almost took my life, but instead stole my heart. But for Texas and the Supreme Court, the end of this summer has meant saying goodbye to people's reproductive rights.
Breaking overnight, the Supreme Court formally refused to block Texas's new abortion ban. The most restrictive abortion law in this country effectively makes abortion illegal in the country's second most populous state. The decision was 5-4, with Chief Justice John Roberts actually joining the three liberal justices in dissent.
And the conservative justices were joined, as always, by these nuts. The Texas law circumvents Roe v. Wade, and as Justice Sonia Sotomayor noted in her dissent, is flagrantly unconstitutional.
She said the court's order is stunning, presented with an application to enjoin a flagrantly unconstitutional law engineered to prohibit women from exercising their constitutional rights and evade judicial scrutiny. A majority of justices have opted to bury their heads in the sand.
Damn, I haven't heard a Supreme Court justice speak that passionately about a case since Sandra Day O'Connor's decision on Kramer versus Kramer. She chose Seinfeld Kramer. She said the laughter he brings is almost unconstitutional. While the Supreme Court's anti-pussy posse claimed they were declining to block the Texas law on procedural grounds, this was just the latest partisan abuse of the court's shadow docket.
The court's late-night decision has highlighted the issue of the shadow docket, where the court makes emergency decisions. As the New York Times points out, the court spent less than 3 days dealing with the Texas case. There were no oral arguments before the justices. The majority opinion was unsigned and 1 paragraph long. 1 paragraph and unsigned? You cowards. If you're taking away our reproductive rights, at least own that you're gutless monsters. Texas's Senate Bill 8, which contains no exceptions for rape or incest, effectively bans abortion after just 6 weeks of pregnancy. At 6 weeks, many people aren't even aware that they're pregnant because doctors count pregnancy from the first day of your last menstrual period. Technically, you're 6 weeks pregnant just 2 weeks after you miss a period, which is nightmare because periods can be irregular for all kinds of reasons. I skipped a period when I started this job and at the 2018 People's Choice Awards when Willem Dafoe looked at me too hard. That was before he became Willem Defriend. But what really makes this law uniquely terrible is that it deputizes private citizens to act like bounty hunters.
It bars state officials from enforcing the law, but instead allows private citizens to sue doctors, clinic staff, and those helping women get abortions. Anti-abortion advocates say even a person driving someone to a clinic should be held responsible.
If he knows and he's taking her there fully aware, that this is illegal to do, then yeah, I think he should be held accountable. This is very much like an accomplice in other types of crimes.
According to the law, if you sue someone and actually win your frivolous misogyny lawsuit, you could get at least 10 grand. Although people are going to be pissed when that money only comes in Jesus bucks. You can only use them at Hobby Lobby, and even then, they're only good for pipe cleaners and long sticks. Not even good wood, balsa wood. But Texas lawmakers aren't just doing this shit for funsies. They're strategically trying to prevent the law from being challenged.
This is Texas's attempt to make it impossible to sue anyone to challenge the constitutionality of this suit. The state's trying to shield itself using a doctrine called sovereign immunity that allows people to sue states only if they are targeting the official who enforces a law they think is unconstitutional. But obviously, Texas is saying there is no such official to sue, so there's no way to bring this constitutional challenge to court.
God, can you imagine if any of these useless twats put as much creativity and time towards helping the millions of American children who have no secure homes or food? I might not have anything to talk about. Instead of doing this show, I'd finally have that HGTV show that I always dreamed about, Like It or Lump It. Like, I'd still piss people off, but only because I'd ask them if they wanted to like it or lump it, and they wouldn't understand what lump it means. And I would not explain it to them. I will never explain it. At the end of the day, we know exactly who will be hurt most by Texas's law.
It's not like, Allison, when, that in Texas, abortions are suddenly going to stop. What's going to happen is they're going to continue, but they're going to be unsafe. And of course, particularly women of color and poor women will be most affected.
This is always the way, and it's by design. An avalanche of prior abortion restrictions and the Hyde Amendment, which bars federal funding like Medicaid from covering abortions, have already made it extremely difficult for low-income people and people of color to obtain safe abortions. But wealthy people will still be able to travel for health care, and Republican men will always find a way to make sure the women they cheat on their wives with get their abortions. You know, I would complain about that hypocrisy if I weren't glad as hell those kids didn't happen. I mean, look at this guy and tell me we need more of him. You can't. Meanwhile, much like the latest wave of COVID, Texas's anti-choice approach is spreading to other red states. At least 7 other Republican-controlled states look to mimic the Texas law. In Florida, Governor DeSantis reiterated that he's pro-saving children's lives, except, of course, until they enroll in school. And in South Dakota, Governor Kristi Noem revealed her own plans.
Following the Supreme Court's decision to leave the pro-life Texas law in place, I've directed the unborn child advocate in my office to immediately review the new Texas law and current South Dakota laws to make sure we have the strongest pro-life laws on the books in South Dakota.
South Dakota has an unborn child advocate. And folks, this is him. It's weird that he's pro-life because with a face like that, I would want to be dead. You can't be pro-birth if you look like you broke out of a cloning pod before you finished. As soul-crushing as it is to see how worthless our Supreme Court has become, it's hard not to want to walk right into our rapidly rising oceans and never return. But on the ground, organizations like the Lilith Fund, Texas Equal Access Fund, and AFIA Center are fighting back. Groups like these provide financial support to help people obtain abortions, which is vital because abortion is health care. And a majority of Americans support abortion rights. Restrictive laws, like the one in Texas, won't actually lower abortion rates. What they will do is damage the health and safety of pregnant people. We need to fight this oppressive law and all the others that come after it because no person should be forced to give birth or look into this man's face. I just missed my period again. Aw, thanks for watching. If you'd like to hear more from Full Frontal, hit subscribe and visit our page for more videos. Or if you'd like to be radicalized, leave YouTube on autoplay.